why nutrition is a scam. So what I mean by that is that most people who teach nutrition are teaching you, and I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but a way in which it's so difficult to maintain over the long term that you just can't ever get it right. And one other thing people don't explain is that the quality of food directly impacts your hormones. So these are two subjects in which a lot of people don't discuss. So let's say, for example, the first one is what the nutrients that you're eating from your food is what your body is looking for. The food itself, so for example, protein, it's not the protein that you need, it's the nutrients within the protein that you need, right? So if you're having protein bars and protein shakes and protein this, protein that, and it doesn't have the nutrients the same as it would do in an animal food, you are not getting what you need, which will result in you feeling terrible, not feeling great. Why do you think every single woman in the world, not every single woman, but a lot of women in the world have all these hormonal issues, and they're not overweight, a lot of them. Let's say they're a non-smoker. Let's say they're someone who doesn't drink, still ends up with hormonal issues, which is pretty common, by the way. It's not like that's like by luck, like just sometimes. It's common to see that people have hormonal issues and they're not overweight. Never mind the people who have hormonal issues and are overweight on top of that, right? That's just even worse. But you're talking people who have relatively, lean diets, and they're still struggling massively with a lot of different aspects. So why is that? Well, there's the quality of food that they're eating. They're eating things that are processed and not thinking about it. They're not even realizing what's processed. They're not realizing that the food in this restaurant that they're ordering from, or the delivery service that they're ordering from, is not high quality food. And when I say high quality food, what I mean by that is it's cheap meat, it's cheap vegetables, and rice, and it's mixed with oil, and it's just a lot of things in there are a low quality. And you don't have to believe me. Use your own common sense. Like, look at the 90% of the population, right? And I've explained this in other videos. 90% of the population know you need to be in a calorie deficit. They all know it, but still everyone is massively struggling with their body fat, and they're massively struggling with their health. Like a huge, you look around you, like wherever you're at right now, look at the people around you. Like, I guarantee 9 out of 10 people, literally 9 out of 10 people, will have high body fat, low muscle mass. Okay, let's say it's not even high body fat, at least low muscle mass. And even the guys who sometimes have high muscle mass, they're carrying a lot of weight in their belly. They don't look really that healthy. And that's just you using your own, that's not believing me, that's just you using your common sense and going, okay, well, why do you think that is? Well, the reason is because you've been lied to think that you can just eat whatever you want as long as it's within calories. And the subject that I really want to explain, and this is one of the most important parts, is a lot of people that explain that are they're from like a professional background. They're maybe an ex-rugby player, or they're an athlete from years ago, and they've maintained a huge amount of muscle mass their whole life. So yes, of course, they can have flexibility in their diet, because they're still eating huge amounts of protein, most likely, because they've been doing it since they were young. They're still lifting a lot of weight, and yeah, they have a bit of flexibility, and also they have a lot of discipline as well. They don't just eat when they want to eat. They have a higher level of discipline. So if you combine all of those things, and then you've got somebody who does that, teaching people who have none of those qualities. They've got low muscle mass, high body fat, they've never trained in their life, they've always struggled with eating processed food, and they're just unhealthy in general. Well, good luck applying the same logic that you apply to yourself to those people. You have to do it in a different way. And firstly, people who are already athletic shouldn't really be eating flexible diet, in my opinion, anyway. Like, I don't think it should be, I mean, level of flexibility, you deserve to have a little bit more because you put the work in, but it shouldn't be to the extreme that where you go on Instagram and there's Instagram reels and people are making all sorts of burrito wraps with all sorts of weird, low calorie crisps and all this kind of stuff in it, and you're just like, oh, it's only 600 calories per burrito, but it's just full of garbage, and half of it's got lettuce and different crisps in it and beans and stuff that you don't really need, whereas you can have large amounts of meat at once. Like, there's nothing wrong with a wrap. If you have a wrap with lots of meat and you keep it simple, it might be a lot better for you. But a lot of people's protein levels are way too low in a lot of these foods. So anyway, it ends up being you having too much processed food. You need to have high animal protein in your diet, and it will resolve a lot of the problems that will occur when it comes to your hormonal imbalance and your muscle mass issue, which is for the majority of the population. The best thing you can do is not add processed food into your meals. Processed food is things that don't have more than 2-3 ingredients. You're going to probably be pretty processed, or even 2 ingredients. If it's an avocado, piece of steak, fish, like all the a leek, carrot, like that's all non-processed food, simple whole foods. If it's processed and you're adding it to your every single meal, because your stomach is filling up with other stuff like vegetables and grains, that's also leaving less space for the animal protein. Then what happens is you wake up the next day and you're just not had enough protein, so you have high cravings. And then you end up eating more. And a lot of the time people pick chicken. So the nutrient level in chicken is lower than it is in red meat. So then you end up in a situation where you're even hungrier. And you feel like you wake up in the morning and you're starving. And a lot of these people end up in a situation. A lot of these people end up in a situation where some guys put a beep at me. Dubai driving. Then he drives off like a lunatic, and then he's like, yeah, it's not my fault. Use your brain. That's why so many people are so daft. Because they're like, what's this guy driving like this for? Then drives off like an idiot. Like, okay, you just proved that point. Anyway, if you got to this part of the video, I would always appreciate to hear if you actually got here. But yeah, so that's the point. So what I mentioned there is really important. Don't add processed food to your meals. If you want things like bread should be organic flour, water and salt. It shouldn't be 5 ingredients in your bread, 6 ingredients, 7 ingredients. That's why people end up eating rubbish. You need to follow the straightforward whole foods. You are born into eating like this. There's no option. You are born to breathe air. There's no going around it. It's the same principle. You were born to eat a certain way. And nowadays people are like, yeah, it's flexible dieting. I'm having sriracha sauce, and then they wonder why they're having such a spicy sriracha sauce, and they wonder why they have crazy gut issues because, they're lean, but they're crazy gut issues. And they're like, well, what's going on? It's like, yeah, well, it's probably because you're destroying your gut through all the processed, high spice, high palatable foods like that. And the last thing I'll finish on, when you eat food with whole foods, you crave those foods a lot more. When you're coming off it, like coming off cigarettes, you're coming off it, you'll feel a bit like, oh, this is different. But I guarantee very, very quickly, a lot quicker than you think, you will get used to it, and you'll be like, oh, this is much better. This is much better. I have way more mental clarity. I feel much better. I'm losing body fat. I'm gaining muscle. I'm not hungry anymore. I have much more creativity in my mind. I have much more mental clarity because you can think clearly and your brain is getting used properly. I cannot explain to you. If you got to this point in the video, make sure you apply this video. It will change your life. And sometimes I repeat a lot of the similar stuff, but I'm going to be very honest, and I'm going to say things that actually help you as opposed to confusing the hell out of you. Stick to those principles, and anything you're worried about with your health, with your mindset, I guarantee it will be fixed at a majority percentage. If you're struggling mentally, fix your diet. if you're struggling, like if you're demotivated, you're feeling a bit depressed sometimes, you've probably got a hormonal problem. You've probably got low testosterone, and if you're a man, your testosterone is probably really, really low. And good luck trying to have a good life with low testosterone. It's literally impossible. So fix it now, and all the other things will come along with it, and they'll also fix. Hope you enjoyed the video. Apply the information. There's no point in watching these videos and having no application. If your intelligence is information plus application, remember. Intelligence is information plus application. That's how you can define somebody who's smart and intelligent. So do the things necessary to get you to where you need to get to. Over and out.